and welcome to SVG-TV's news for Wednesday, September 30th, 2015. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. Minister of State responsible for Transport and Works, Julian Francis, says that the National Omnibus Association, NOBA, does not have a good enough reason to take industrial action and also questioned the motive of its president. In responding to remarks made by NOBA's president Anthony Bacchus, in which he suggested that the government stop wasting the country's resources and to instead fix the roads, Francis says such remarks are very callous and unfair. The Minister of State says that the recent arrival of building materials estimated at $4.5 million is solely for the Lives to Lives program, and the needs of the people, especially those who are homeless and without basic appliances and facilities, takes precedence over the conditions of the roads. Francis notes that it should be obvious to everyone that the government is making efforts to repair the roads, though it is taking longer than expected. He says there have been some setbacks, but they are working tirelessly in the Ministry of Works to get back on track.
Because we are accustomed talking face to face, but it seems as if he doesn't want me to invite me to the meeting on Sunday. Surely I'm not going to force myself on a meeting of NOBA. I would say that he's ill-advised to try and withhold their services. Not only will he hurt his own passengers, but he will hurt himself and the other minibus operators, because I guarantee you all the minibuses are not going to be joining in the strike action that Mr. Bacchus is contemplating. He has made this serious, very, as I said before, insensitive comparison to materials that have been brought into the country. And he says that is for our benefit. And I heard him this morning that minibus operators and the NOBA members don't get any benefits at all. Well, I would think that restoring one's home situations and creature comforts, this country has suffered significantly since 2010 with storms, and persons' possessions have been badly damaged. And I think this shipment of material is about the third shipment of material we've brought in since 2010, and over a 5-year period, it's about, I believe, $11–12 million.
The Minister of State further adds that the government has made attempts to reach out to the National Omnibus Association numerous occasions, and that unfortunately not all of NOBA's requests have been reasonable.
The traveling public, I know, is very upset and are not satisfied with the service they get from the minibus operators. And if you hear they call in programs on these things, the loud music, the rudeness, the speed, and there's a don't care attitude. They have the most traffic violations in the country. I have a good rapport with a lot of minibus operators, and I've spoken to them on a one-on-one basis. We have sat at meetings and discussed these things. But the traveling public would demand these things if the minibus is looking for their support. In the past, whenever these things are coming, the NOBA will contact me. I've had interactions with NOBA for years, from Herman Pretty days when he was president right down to Mr. Bacchus. And we've always had very healthy discussions, and we've come to some agreements on certain matters we never came to agreements on.
According to Francis, while the government is working to fix the roads, the van drivers have to understand that they too have a part to play in ensuring the comfort and safety of their passengers. He says though NOBA appears to be determined to take industrial action, he is available to have a more in-depth discussion and to find the best ways in which they can resolve the matter.
In those areas where the minibuses approach me in the past, I sat with them. Whenever they invite me to a meeting, I will sit with them and we come to a reasonable conclusion. I am open for discussions with Mr. Bacchus and his executive. I think that he has an executive, but I get the feeling that this is a one-man show going on. And I trust that they will see the sense and not proceed with the planned action. Offered to give them expert resources, that is personnel, who can help them sort themselves out, because internally they do have a lot of problems. So I don't know what else you wish to get out of me on this matter. I have said to you yesterday on the phone, and I will say at all times, as I said on my radio program last night, I am willing to sit down and discuss with the Minibus Association the problems that they're having. The government has embarked and will continue over the approaching weeks to continue to repair, starting with the worst roads down to the not so bad roads.
Meanwhile, President of the National Omnibus Association, Anthony Bacchus, says years has passed since this country has been affected by any natural disaster, and therefore the government has had enough time to deal with the aftermath. Bacchus says for many omnibus operators, the roads are their way of livelihood, and that the government has a responsibility of meeting their needs as well.
A couple of weeks before school opened, I constantly kept calling Julian Francis. I have his number, I have the Prime Minister's number. I called Julian Francis repeatedly. I couldn't get no answer. One time he texted me back and he told me he's in cabinet. However, I kept calling until one time I got him and I told him, I said, listen, Mr. Francis, we have a problem. It could escalate. The road going into the community college, it needs fixing. The van drivers in Calico and Glen are complaining about the road. I tried to get things solved before going forward. I did contact Mr. Francis. What triggered it off, like I mentioned before, is that I seen all the lumber and cement in that a lot of money been spent. They said it for the people in Tumas, or it could be campaign material, whatever. I am saying Tumas was 5 years ago. The buses on the road, this is our livelihood. It's not nothing politically motivated. We just would like to get the roads fixed.
Bacchus, who is also a minibus operator, says Noble has been unsuccessful in their attempts to reason with the government, and they will proceed with the industrial action for better road conditions. He also made it clear that the presence of the Minister of State at their meeting, which will be held on Sunday to discuss the length of the strike action, is not welcome.
When we're seeing all this money being spent to benefit whoever, we feel kind of disrespected because nothing is being put in the roads to repair. So this is why we're taking this action. Come on, Mr. Francis, come on, keep it real, Mr. Francis. You understand? We're not stupid out here. Okay, this is real hard times. Okay, and the money that we're spending on our vehicles, we're spending top of money. We're not making no profit. This business is to make a profit, not to spend every time we make. We have to take a stand. No, we don't want him there. We don't want him at the meeting because we're going forward.
And SVG-TV News took to the streets of capital Kingstown to get the views of commuters and minibus operators whether or not Noble has a valid reason to take industrial action. Here are their views.
But some of the road needed fixing, I must say so. You understand? They mustn't give a bad impression and say that all the roads in St. Vincent bad. That is a lie. Because I used to travel to countryside and the road was real bad. Now the road, we have nice roads. Some of the road really needing fixing, but I won't say all of the roads.
You support the decision for them to strike?
No, I don't. Trust me. That is wrong. We have our school children going to school and whatever. They must kind of realize that, you know, and compromise. Well, somebody, all right, at the meeting, they must have somebody in authority. So if he don't want Julian Francis, then who he wants? Somebody else? Julian Francis is the person who is responsible for that? Well, he should be there. That is stupidness.
Very bad. It's very, very bad. Because the representative them do ride on those roads. It's leave to if you walking on your foot, you have to open your eyes to see those holes. You will drop, half of me will drop down in one of those holes. Up Glenmorgan. And it's real bad for the van drivers because the shocks are mashing up, the tires are mashing up. It's real bad and the administration need to do something about these holes. I'm not saying that because no politics is not no politics, it's reality. It's reality. They need to do something about it.
I guess that's their priority. They have to know what they're fighting for. But yes, the roads in St. Vincent, in fact, the whole country is in a disastrous state. So I'm not even so sure how I should respond. No, I don't think the transportation system is reliable or even up to the task of moving people to and fro in the country. In fact, I think it's our
probably one of our poorest areas of our communications. They need to be upgraded. They need to have proper schedules, even the size and dimensions of the buses. These little minivans, time we move away from that and go to vans that could accommodate people, you know, in a more comfortable way. Also, they could probably give incentives to people to bring in small coaches and so on. But the whole system, the roads are bad, but the whole system is unreliable in itself.
I live on the leeward side of the end of the road. Well, I understand they are under construction. But on the leeward side, I have, on the windward side, if the road are bad, the van drivers need to strike. We need to do something better than that. The government need to see about the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and fix the roads of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But on the leeward side, I will want to forgive them because I understand the road is under construction. So the way up the road, I will forgive them for that.
In the van, you're getting squeezed up until you're getting a proper ride until you miss. What do you think about the conditions of the road? The road and then we're fixed down the road side.
Nice. Only one part down by the coast there. It's very difficult with the post. Them, they died. That's the only difficult, but all the other rest is very good.
I don't know what to say. Even until the strike, I still think the roads them ain't going to fix in time for them.
But yeah, well, I don't think it's a good idea because it done hard already for us to catch van on morning times to come to school. So I don't really think that's a good idea. Yeah. It is very poor, especially on the leeward side where the roads are being under construction. It is very hard, and the roads are it has a lot of gravel on the road and things. Yeah. Some of the conductors don't treat the customers great. I think like they should take better care of the vans and stuff, and the conductors should be more polite.
It was a bad idea for them to strike because van amount of them is hard to catch and let's be late for school and stuff like that.
The service is very bad because most of the conductors are very disrespectful. They say go there, and if you don't want to pay them, they say don't catch back the van again.
Where are you from?
Bukaman.
So you travel in a bus to get here and go down home, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about the condition of the roads?
Wow. The road bad, but they're fixing it.
And the opposition New Democratic Party's candidate for the West St. George constituency in the upcoming general elections, Dr. Jules Ferdinand, is advancing the need for agriculture to be given priority in the country. Dr. Ferdinand, who was speaking at an NDP's event in Chateaubriand last Saturday, says going back to agricultural cultivation will take this country out of its economic abyss.
You know how much money St. Vincent made from exporting Korea? There's some people who would have said, never happened. I bring this example to say that we, the NDP team, we have ideas of things that were never tried before. You have to build your faith in us to take us out of this economic chasm. We as a people must not give up agriculture. Forget about those who say we should. Those people who tell us that we must focus on services rather than on agriculture don't know what they're talking about. We must take agriculture to a higher level. And with battle as your champion, carrots and agriculture will return to normal.
The National Parks, Rivers and Beaches Authority and the Eastern Caribbean Marine Managed Areas Network ECMAN project last weekend successfully completed the beach cleanup of the Tululu Beach in Newgrounds. This is part of the objective of the project, which is to highlight the many problems associated with pollution of our marine environment. Tashika Haynes, project coordinator and leader of the beach restoration activity, said the Tululu Beach was identified by a community group under the ECMAN project. She says the beach, though beautiful, was identified as one of the most polluted on the island, and it is disheartening to see how little some citizens care for the environment and their health. Haynes stated that it is the hope of the project to bring to the forefront the escalating problem of pollution of the marine environment in an effort to create a change in the attitudes and habits of Vincentians. With less than 60% of students in grade 6 reading at their level, Chief Education Officer Luan Gilchrist says this matter has become a top priority for the ministry. The education head was speaking at the launch of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States USAID Early Learners Program today at the Telecommunications Conference Room. She says the program, which rolled out in 2012 in the 6 OECS member states, is aimed at addressing students' reading ability from kindergarten to grade 3. Gilchrist says the training the education officers will receive will not be a quick fix, but will help them to improve their skills to enhance student learning. This, she says, is necessary as students' reading ability affects all subject areas.
Our data will show that at the level of grade 6, less than 60% of our cohort, our grade 6 cohort, is reading at the grade 6 level. That is indeed cause for concern. Now, with the Early Learners Program, we're going to address matters related to reading, beginning in the kindergarten and going up to the grade 3 level. It is not meant to be a sticking plaster or a band-aid. We're not going to apply a band-aid. We're going to have very targeted interventions when it comes to students' reading ability and their literacy, because we know that literacy skills are skills that carry across the curriculum and can determine to a very large extent rather, the students' academic outcome.
Providing an overview of the current reading skills of students through the National Grade 6 Assessment from 2013 to 2015 was Education Officer for Literacy, Language and Communication, Mavis Joseph. In her presentation, Joseph says as students approach the end of grade 6 each year, the diagnostic evaluation is conducted to determine the level at which they are reading. She highlights that while there was a slight improvement in 2014, there still needs to be improvement in the overall reading skills.
So just 60.33% of our total students were able to show mastery at the grade 6 and 7 level, with 39.67% falling below the grade 6 level. In 2014, we had a slight improvement. Students reading at the grade 6 and 7 level fell at 62.7%, with 37.28 below the grade 6 level. And in 2015, 63.54% at the grade 6 and 7 level, with 36.46 falling below. At the alphabetic level, you notice in 2013 we have 0. That's because at that time we did not test the students at that level, but we found that it was necessary since many students were reading at the pre-primary or even below.
The Education Officer for Literacy, Language and Communication also points out that girls continue to outperform boys.
It has been said several times that our boys are not performing on par with the girls, and the evidence is here. In 2015, we had 71.93% of the females reading at the grade 6 to 7 level. At the same time, we had 55.3% of our males reading at the same level. 2014, 74.45% of females reading at the grade 6 to 7 level, while we had 52.25. And in 2013, 70% of our females reading at the grade 6 level, while 51.32 of our males reading at the same level. We see that there was an improvement in the reading level from 2013 and a slight fall in 2015.
And head of the Educational Project Management Unit of the OECS Commission, Marcellus Albertine, says leadership in education, teacher training and professional development are some of the areas the teachers will be looking at during the training session.
learning in the classroom, that is ensuring that we have a learner-centered classroom environment, curriculum and assessment, early childhood education, TVET, and tertiary and post-secondary education. And in addition to those 7 priorities, we have what we call cross-cutting themes. One of them is improving boys' education, so that no matter what we do, we always think of improving boys' education. Another one has to do with paying greater attention to special needs education. And the third one is the one that we are working on this in this project, and that is improving literacy and numeracy. So what we are doing here actually is another aspect of the key priorities. This is one of the aspects of the key priorities of the regional education program that we've been pursuing over the past 3 years or so.
The OECS Education Project Management Head praises SVG for being at the forefront of supplying data for the project, which he says has not only helped this country, but others as well.
3 years, St. Vincent, by the way, has been leading in producing annual National Education Statistics Digest. And I could tell you on this front, St. Vincent has been a leader in a big way, and I'll tell you why. Because we have used Keith's expertise to support other countries in Montserrat, and recently Keith was in Turks and Caicos Islands, and to assist them in developing their statistical digests and to improve the system that they have. It is part of our work in the OECS. We identify leadership and expertise within our 9 member states, and instead of calling in expertise from outside, we use our local expertise to support each other. And hopefully you will be seeing some of this in the program that we are about to undertake. It is about strengthening what we have and using our own to help each other.
In other news, police are now investigating the shooting of Dennis Quinton, a 57-year-old shopkeeper of New Montrose. Reports are that at about 8:45 p.m. last evening, Quinton was at his small shop, which is downstairs his home, and was chatting with a female. Shortly after she left, a masked gunman fired off 2 shots, which got lodged in Quinton's shoulder, chest area, and abdomen. Neighbors came to his aid, and he was rushed to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital for medical attention. It is unclear if the assailant attempted to rob Quinton, who has been described as an easygoing peacemaker in his neighborhood. When SVG-TV visited the scene, the bloody area where Quinton was wounded was still visible, but reliable sources say that he was released from the intensive care unit and is in stable condition at the hospital. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Electricity Services Limited, VINLEC, is expressing sadness over the death of Julius Nanton of Calder. Reports are that Nanton died following an incident at Cane Hall, where he was engaged in tree trimming activities. At the time of the incident, Nanton was employed with a tree trimming contractor who conducts work on behalf of VINLEC. A release from VINLEC's communications officer, Tamara Job-Sprott, states that the company's Senior Advisory Safety Committee met earlier today and initiated an internal inquiry into the matter. She says the company will work closely with the relevant authorities involved in investigating the incident.